Hello, everyone. Welcome to Swift Kick TV.
Hello.
We have some people here.
I'm a people.
You're a people. You're a person.
Why am I not a people? Why is she a people and I'm a person?
Multiple personalities, individual personality.
Thanks, Tom. I'm Melissa
Ruiz. Tom Kriegelstein.
Sabina Colleran.
And we make up the
Swift
Kick
team. He didn't plan that. He just thought we'd know. I don't know.
I was waiting to see what you'd say.
TV or
The gang of idiots.
So before we get into it today, I just want to quickly acknowledge that Melissa and I are about to do something potentially ridiculous and kind of crazy.
What?
Sabina, maybe you don't know. What are we doing?
We're running.
Okay, that's not the thing. We're doing this thing called a Ragnar Run. We signed up.
Oh, I thought you meant now.
It's 200 miles over 2 days, night, morning, rain, snow, sleet, hail, tornado.
It's in Boston, or
Sharknado.
Sharknado.
Okay, fine. It's actually in gorgeous weather, but
Yeah.
it's 200 miles, and normally there's teams of 12. However, we are doing the Ultra Ragnar, which is a team
Because
of
why not? Team of 6.
Which means how many miles are you going to run?
4.
She's going to run 4, but she has to actually get through 30-some, maybe 35 miles. So each person's doing 35 miles. You ready?
Yeah. Do you want to be, leg 1 or, pull it all in and win the race?
I'm going to cheer you on from Twitter on my couch.
Oh, man.
On the couch. Thanks. Appreciate it. Well, so we're going to keep you posted about that as we dig in. Melissa and I run it with some other friends as well. Sabina's going to be on the Twitter. I love running, so we're all good. We'll make up for it. With that, however, that's not why we're here in episode number 3 of Swift Kick TV. We are here because we have a very special topic, which is the fast-forward mindset, accelerating team success.
It's so dramatic of a title, right?
Basically, every time we say fast-forward, we need a sound effect.
That's going to get really annoying.
And we have a special guest. Who is that? What is the... I'm just adding sound effects now for a show. You don't even have to do post-production.
There is no post-production here. Nope. We're just going to...
Nope.
So, do you want to tease the audience a little bit about our guest that's coming in?
I have some fun facts. Fun fact number 1. Someone once randomly drew our guest in the subway here in New York City.
Which you think is like a weird thing, but actually...
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
I'm
It's
surprised
kind
that
of
hasn't happened to me. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Tom is like, can you draw me?
I'm ready for my close-up. Second fun fact, our guest today is a marathon runner.
Just like
Speaking of running,
guys.
I will be soon. No. And the third fun fact about our guest today is that his wife, I was going to try to, sneakily put in there. Anyway, now you know it's a male. His wife is so awesome that she won Social Worker of the Year.
Dun, 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 dun.
So the third fact is that his wife is
It's
awesome.
awesome.
Got it. Just making sure I'm aware of that. Okay.
It keeps good company.
That's an important thing, the people you surround yourself
That's
with.
it.
Yeah.
That's it.
A players, B players.
You are the average, blah, 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 blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah.
Hashtag motivation people. Before we bring him out, however, people, you know that we speak for a living professionally, and we often get people asking us for information and tips about how to speak and deliver programs. So every episode we like to bring you a tip, and this one is I notice when I go to speeches, and sometimes I do this as well, is the speaker always asks the audience to do something. Maybe it's like, how many of you, or raise your hand if. And one of the things I notice is that when speakers do that is they sort of like don't give the audience the full commitment to raising their hand. They'll say, if you want, go ahead and raise your hand, or they'll go, how many of you have done this? Right, that, and then they'll move on fast. So what I'm saying is that if you want your audience to do something, commit them to doing it with, like, for example, raise your hand and then actually put your hand up. Or pull out.
Persuasive.
When I say go, pull out your cell phone Hopefully no one has their cell phone. No rings. So that's the idea, is this idea that if you're going to ask your audience to do something, really get them to do it. In a prior episode, we talked about the idea that the social proof, that raise your hand if half the audience doesn't do it, you say turn to your neighbor and see if your neighbor has their hand raised, and it's social proof, gets everyone in the audience to do it. Before we move on, own the room from the stage.
So what I'm hearing you say is don't half-ass your ask.
Yes, don't half-ask your ask. Wait, no.
No, that was right. You got it.
I did it? I thought I said ass twice. Okay. Well, there we go.
Well, now you did.
I think now that we've done that, I think it's time to bring our special guest.
You guys are amazing.
It's part talent. The other half is what?
Weird. It's just weird. Part weird.
Part talent, people. Part weird. Can someone put that on my LinkedIn account?
Weird.
I just want to let you guys know you might have your first groupie. So I've watched both shows, and I was like really excited with the energy in here. Yeah, so what I didn't know was that it's a sauna in here. So if you do see me sweating, I will go open the window. I'm going to make that call if I need to.
Yeah,
that's what I do. As an entrepreneur, you got to do
fair.
it.
I mean, that's legit. You are the guest here. We supply water and a sauna.
Yes,
that's what we do.
Your pores are going to be so clean.
Yes.
You lose weight on Swift Kick TV.
But give the people what they want. Tell them who you are.
So, what's up? So, I'm really excited to be here. My name is David Schnurman. I'm the CEO of Lawline, and obviously the husband of Kelly, who is the social worker of the year. The funny story about that is when we used to go out and meet new people, they used to say, "What do you do?" I'm like, "I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a lawyer." They said, "Okay." And she's like, "What do you do?" "I'm a liver transplant social worker." And then it was like the same thing. Like, so it was like I'm used to that, like the husband of Kelly situation.
The husband of
Aww, that's sweet.
Shout out to Kelly.
What up, Kelly? All right. Well, we want to get to know you better, and so we brought with us some questions, and this is what we call here at Swift Kickin' It.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Let's do it.
All right. So we're gonna go bounce back and forth. Whatever comes to your mind, make it happen. Are you starting or am I starting?
You can start.
Here we go. Vanilla or chocolate?
Vanilla.
Favorite book?
So this is a great book. It's Dale Carnegie, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living.
Oh.
Many people know the other book is How to Win Friends and Influence People. This book will change your life.
Hashtag book club.
Reduce 50% of your worries overnight. It actually says it in the book. So yeah.
I'm gonna do two really quickly.
Oh, okay, sure.
Carnegie or Carnegie?
This must be an inside joke on that.
I know, it's actually not. I guess Carnegie.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Dale Carnegie.
Speaking
We're gonna have to
Put
open
the
this
emphasis on the wrong syllable.
of sneakers or dress shoes?
Sneakers.
Okay.
Favorite movie?
Obviously, Goodfellas, and then Godfather's there, but Goodfellas I've watched probably 27 times.
Musical or play?
My son knows Hamilton by heart, so it's musical. And he's 9 years old. And he
Look
sings
around, look around.
Yeah, he literally
Happy
performs
to
it.
be
Every time he
loved
listens
by
to it
God.
and Hamilton gets killed, he goes, oh no!
It's so sad.
It is sad.
It's so sad.
Hey, spoiler alert.
I didn't know going into it, so I'm just being honest.
What?
I'm just kidding.
What is your own personal secret weapon?
Well, it's my hair, but
Team of two. Oh.
there's one person who can destroy me in that, so he's right next to me.
Stop! Show is over. Okay.
My ability to
goodness.
sweat.
Yeah, don't worry, we're gonna make that happen. Poker or chess?
It's chess, not checkers. You gotta love chess if you're in business.
Such
Poker,
an entrepreneur.
yeah, poker is. I'm not good at bluffing, as you'll see in a second.
Worst job you've ever had?
I was a closing attorney for a real estate company where I was.
Don't say their name.
No, so for me it was the worst job because what happened was I don't know if you've ever bought a property in New York. There's 1,000 pieces of paper that you have to organize. That was my job. I am not a detail-oriented person. Let's just say some people got their things in the wrong place. So I realized I'm a visionary, not a detail-oriented person. So
They thought they were buying in Soho, but they bought in... no,
Plus they got yelled
Details.
at. They bought in Jersey.
Yeah.
What? Whoops! Dang it. Go to the gym or work out at home.
The gym, and there's a reason for that. The mirrors in the gym make you look much skinnier and much better than you are because they're tinted. So if you just want to feel good about yourself, go to the gym.
Is that like a thing they do?
It is, for sure.
I believe it.
Smart. Just
Yeah,
smart.
Google it.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up. Biggest pet peeve.
Complaining and not doing anything about it. I just can't take it.
Open the windows or close the windows.
I calmed down a little bit, so I would probably open them still, but we can keep them closed right now.
All right. Good to know.
I say we open them.
Okay, let's open them. It'll be fine. What were we talking about?
We just finished rapid fire, so thank you. Now everyone knows so much about David, and now we're here for what we're really here for, which is the topic, this fast forward mindset.
I like that. Thank you. Thank you for that.
If you want us to go on the road with you,
Just say no. We're your backup.
It would be a dream come true.
yeah,
Yes.
just in the back.
Someday.
Oh, he said fast forward. Mindset.
It's a big button. The easy button for staples.
Wow.
We have a backstory with
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
We'll share later.
Awkward.
No.
I
Okay,
just saw him get, like, his face get red.
The disappointment of failed plans.
that's the slow motion Sarah McLachlan moment in the post edit. You slow down, my face go like this, and you see put on Sarah McLachlan in the eyes of an angel. Because I'm thinking about something sad.
I'm glad he's telling me how to edit this in the middle of the show. This is great.
All right.
Where did fast forward mindset come from?
Okay. So it's an anomaly. It's from many different parts. So it's
Okay.
not like it's just one day I'm like, I'm going to come up with a mindset. So it started with this, and this is something we all can relate to. So maybe not this part. I just turned 40, so you can't relate to that yet. But what we can, no, you're like 20. So the what I can relate to is, so I've had a pretty successful career, I guess, where I've built a business, I have a beautiful family, we live in Park Slope, and I was talking to my dad, and I was really saying to my dad, like, look, if I had to talk to my 20-year-old self, there's no question he would be impressed with what I've achieved and what I've gotten, but honestly, my 20-year-old self would have thought I've had a bigger business by now and had more of an impact on my community. Mm-hmm. My dad listened to this, and he's a very successful person, and he just goes to me, he said, do you know how many people would want to be in your shoes right now and have achieved what you achieved? Mm. And I thought about that for a moment, and I realized my issue was not that I wanted a bigger business or more notoriety, which, I mean, I wouldn't complain if that happened, but ultimately I felt too comfortable in my good life. I actually felt like I was stuck. And it wasn't like there was this big moment where like I had to, everything, disappeared. I actually felt like, oh my God, what if I have this conversation in 20 years from now? What will my 40-year-old person say about my 60-year-old, where I'm 60? And 20 years goes by, as we know, pretty quickly. And so I realized that, okay, this is a moment where I don't want to let that slip away. And so that kind of put together a lot of other scenarios. I can really dive a little bit deeper to what the fast forward mindset is. But essentially, so I talked to my dad, and I was really honest that, like, too often on a daily basis, I feel like a failure. Whether it's I'm indecisive, whether I can be a better leader. We all do, by the way. Like, where I can be a better leader, where I could have felt more confident. I don't want to fear failure. I could have been more focused. And there was one time that I felt like such a champion. That's when I finished the marathon.
My
first marathon.
First marathon.
Any marathon, but the first marathon. I crossed that finish line, and I felt like a champion. And I decided to kind of think about that for a little bit. Like, what was it that made me feel like such a champion going through it? And then I realized the marathon has something that does not exist in normal life. And my thought process was, and I actually looked at that and I compared it to my business stories. And it's essentially what the marathon has is
aching muscles.
So let me ask you this. Why do you think, this is to everybody, why do you think, and you guys are definitely right for this, have you run a marathon before?
No, half marathon.
Okay, great. So you guys are like totally in it right now because you're running more than a marathon very soon. Okay. Have you started training? Obviously.
Like this morning.
Okay. Okay. This is really apt to this conversation. Why do you think it is almost anybody can run a marathon as long as you're physically able? Why do you think that is?
People cheering you on the sides.
Okay.
Go throw out options.
Yeah. This is what public speakers do. They always say, yup. They never like say, bad idea. Like, I've picked that up, though. They're always like, yup, keep going.
Yep.
It's not what I want to hear, but keep going.
They train.
They train.
There's usually a beer tent at the end of the race.
All right, so how do you know? So how do you train? How are you deciding how you're training for this?
Google.
And what are you getting on Google?
A lot of different ways to train.
Right. So
Which is confusing and overwhelming.
Have you found a training plan yet?
No.
Okay. So So many people, right? When you say this, it's like drive, toughness. You're putting out a goal. At the end of the day, what a marathon provides is focus. You know what the vision of a marathon? What's the vision?
26.2.
26.2. So you know how far you want to go, and you just said it. Anyone can go on the internet and download a 12 to 16 week training program that's time tested, that you know if you follow it to the T, you'll have enough of what it takes to get through it. So at the end of the day, what you're able to do in a marathon is put all of your energy into being fearless, because you're able to be mentally tough the day in, the day out of training, which you're going to see what it's like, but more importantly, the day of the race. And so what normally happens, and I'll tell you what happened with me in the marathon, what normally happens in business and in life is you're trying to figure out the vision, you're trying to figure out the training plan, and you're trying to be mentally tough at the same time. And when you're doing all that, when somebody says to you, which I might do in a moment here, like when we talk about this TV show, and someone says to you, why are you doing this? What's the goal? How long are you going to do this for? Like, I don't get it. Like, why are you using
everyone subscribes?
No. So why are you using that camera? And then all of a sudden, if I ask the right question, where you're just like, you start doubting yourself, right? And you're like, I don't know. What are we trying to do here? And then all of a sudden, that's a wall.
Yeah, I want to add something.
I'll pause you.
I actually think it's really interesting because I oftentimes hear people get excited about a physical thing like a marathon or lose weight, because there's a physical aspect to it, but when it comes to the mental type marathons, people lose their concept of like what to do. And so I love this idea of using the metaphor of a marathon, which is something that everyone's familiar with, and applying it to writing a book, launching a business, growing your business from here to here, getting the grade point of whatever you're trying to do. All of that is the same principles apply. We just don't, I think most people don't think to apply the same principles outside of the physical space to this mental space.
Yeah, so the fast forward mindset is how to be more fearless and to be more focused. And what the fearless is it's a fearless affirmation that we can go over in a second. But the focus component, and you go to the marathon, it's what gets you through the walls. Because, and we can go over how to apply the training plan to outside of business, but essentially, at mile 23, I hit the runner's wall. Have you guys heard about that yet?
But tell us.
I hit it every day. When I wake up, I'm like, I don't really want to run today. Before I even start running. Yes.
So you know when you've heard about it a little bit. When you train for the race, you're going to run. You're not going to run the full 30 miles. You're going to train 20 miles or 22 miles because your body just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So what happens somewhere in between the 20 miles and the 30 miles, your body's going to tell you to stop running. It's going to say, what are you doing right now? And it's going to scream at you to do that. And it happened to me at mile 23. And the only reason I was able to get through, so I had somebody screaming at me. And it
literally
helped.
Screaming at you?
So my friend, who actually became an ultramarathon runner, he was literally running backwards and not even sweating. He's like, let's go, you can do it. And I'm like, damn, man. And so he screamed at me the last 3.5 miles. And there's pictures of the finish line of him screaming at me and running at the same time. So, but really what got me, so that helped.
Friendship.
Yeah.
But imagine being at mile 23 and thinking there's 23 miles left to go. Doesn't matter how much he's screaming at you, you're not going to finish that race. So the fact that I knew I'd trained and that I knew there was only 3 miles left to go, I knew, and I committed to doing it, I knew I could get myself there. And too often, let's go back to this TV show, 7 episodes in, 12 episodes in, you hit a wall. it could be a wrong wall, but do you know what your vision is for the show so you can get through that wall? Or even like, you know what, we only got 2 million subscribers. We want probably 2 million is probably
we're around 2 million.
Of course.
But it's things to think about, because a lot of times we're very similar, I think. We jump in with the fearless part is easy to get started. We jump in with passion. And too often I personally run on passion, not a plan.
Yeah.
There's some people who have plans but have no passion, and then so you got to figure out, in order to go back to. So the last thing I'll say, and then I'll pause, is what was really important to me about the fast forward mindset is to think about the next 20 years. But because none of us know really, very hard to say I want to be Elon Musk and send someone to Mars in 20 years. So it's very hard to do that. For me, it is. It's like I don't even know what 20 years is. I also want to do the practicality of. Know you want to accomplish a lot in 20 years, but the fast forward mindset says this. You want to gain, there's no shortcut to experience, right? We all know that, right? So the goal of the fast forward mindset is to gain as much experience as possible. And while you're doing that, the only way to do that is to break through the walls along your way. And so it's a formula to help you do that. So you do more and you try to constantly build off of that.
That's great, yeah. You had mentioned a fearless affirmation.
Yeah.
What is that affirmation?
So the phrase that I use is nip fear in the bud. And the
bud?
The bud. Like the bud. Like
bud.
The, you know, the
like
bud.
the flower.
The bud.
Bud.
Yeah.
We already said ass, so I feel like
The bud.
Bud.
So
Bud.
so the bud. Like the bud of a flower.
Tom, get out.
So but that's not
In
the eyes of an angel. Sorry.
So thank you. No, I'm very focused, man. Don't mess with my affirmation. So NIP is an acronym because I was trying to come up with something very simple to remember on the spot. You can use it any moment you need it, because that's basically when you need it. Like when you're like freaking out about the camera angles or the heat. Like, okay, so ready, NIP. No, it's true though. Like N, not alone. We're not alone in putting together this TV show and dealing with all the issues surrounding with setting it up. I will get through it. I will get through it because I've done it every single time before in my life and I figured it out. Maybe you don't break through the wall the way you thought you were. Maybe you kind of do something different or you back up. But you'll get through that moment of feeling depressed or scared or whatever that is. And P, play the part. Play the part means not being the actor or actress on stage and not being concerned about what others think of you. So the affirmation is, I will get through this moment of being on the TV show by playing the part and being a fearless entrepreneur. Or it's public speaking. Or when an employee quits, how are you going to do that? Or you lose a big client.
Yeah.
It's just remembering that phrase, and I use it all the time now to get me through a specific moment where I need to be fearless.
So we only have a little bit of
Sorry.
time. No,
I'm
it's
trying
okay.
to do a 42-minute speech. And
I know. Don't worry, we've done that many a times.
Oh, yeah.
Clearly, you're passionate about this, and one of the things with our 2 million viewers that we have watching the show is a lot of them run teams and organizations.
Yeah.
So how can we apply the fast forward mindset to the team?
Yeah. So it actually applies really well to the team, because what happens is in business is many times you lack that focus that you need to make things happen. So where I realized that what we do in our business is take that training plan from our marathon and we've transformed it to a training plan for business. So what many people do when they have a plan is they forget the two most important parts. They forget dates and they forget clear goals or KPIs. When you look at a training plan for a marathon, as you've seen, it has every single day how much you're supposed to run, and then you know if you've done it and how well you've done it. So if you don't have dates or KPIs or goals in a plan, you're running on passion, not a plan. So what we've done is we do a quarterly goals for each individual and for the company, and each month you have certain goals that you're trying to hit, and then at the end it says, here is what success looks like, and then the next thing below it's like, here is what wow looks like. And we do that for the entire company for individuals, so it allows us to give that focus, because if not, as soon as somebody doubts it or as soon as we do that, and that's what we used to do. So we hired a coach from Gazelles who's been working with us, and that's when I realized the entire company was running on passion the first 6 years.
Yeah.
And you can't scale unless you have the focus and accountability.
And so in Swift Kick, we do very similar with Rockefeller Habits or Scaling Up. We run daily, weekly, quarterly, yearly strategic planning, and we have a ton of passion, but there's a plan behind it. And I think I love that. It's one thing to run on passion. It's another thing to run on passion with a plan.
Yeah. There's always a wall behind the wall that's in front of you. And the key to success with the plan...
There's a wall behind the wall.
And then behind that wall.
Scary.
What if you're the Kool-Aid man?
Oh, that's...
Problem solved.
Love it.
Does anyone know the tagline? No, okay.
No, I bet you can look it up.
Yeah, sure. We will.
This computer over here can look it up.
Isn't it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, doesn't he?
Oh,
Anyway.
yeah.
That's one thing we should work on. She needs much more interaction in this. I feel like in the first 2 episodes, I'm like, what is she talking about? What there? And I just wanted you guys to interact more.
Who? With who?
Yeah, I don't.
I quit. I'm going to go work for him.
I thought you applied to Joe's company.
She's the wizard behind the scenes.
She is,
yes,
we are the faces here, clearly focused.
You're so nice to let her be on camera with you. I mean,
I know.
But okay, last thing, then we'll get.
Yeah.
This is just
Then we
so people
move on.
know, and then we'll wrap it up. Is the best was on the first episode when he introduced Melissa. You're like, there's Melissa, and amazingly. As amazing as Melissa, I thought we both thought he was going to introduce you. He's like, me.
And that is Swift Kick. That
No, that's a great culture you got.
But I accept that. Look, they make fun of me equally.
Constant.
It's
Oh,
constant.
constant.
So,
But I was saying there's a wall behind the wall, and the most important thing to having your plan work, and you guys will see this as you're getting through this 30-mile race, is keeping your agreement or keeping your commitment. It's what gets you through. Because if you don't have that, if you don't keep your commitment, if you don't say you're going to do that with your plan, you're just going to always pivot. Pivoting is not bad, but you can't always pivot, and you got to get through it. And so that part of it is really important to the fast forward mindset by keeping the commitments. You agree to a plan, and then you agree to, you keep your agreement to that plan.
Yeah. In dance floor theory, we have we talk about dance floors. We use it as a metaphor for the level of engagement that people experience within a team or organization. And one of the phrases we have is we talk about fives in the center of the dance floor. You're a 5 if you're fully involved, you're committed, you're making a plan, you're helping create the culture of the whole dance floor. And so we actually have a phrase for it. It says, "Go on, get your 5 on." And it's interesting you say that, and you talk about the fast forward mindset, because the people in the center of the dance floor that we do the training, they are the ones with the fast forward mindset. We're now saying, now take that fast forward mindset and apply it to everyone on the dance floor to bring more people into the center, so that you're not the only one with the plan and the passion. So it's interesting. Like, I love when ideas come together like this.
Well, it's interesting because I work with a lot of coaches as part of EO.
Yep. Entrepreneurs Organization, shout out.
I did some coaching stuff, and what happens is you talk to all these different coaches, and you realize everybody has their own dance floor theory, their own fast forward mindset.
Yeah.
And I just want to share the most important thing that I learned in this whole process is you don't know how good you are. Like, you really don't. People don't realize that, and like I don't. Like, and that's where the problem came, where like you're focusing on what you're not accomplishing versus what you can do. And I like to think of it as like offense only. Don't worry about what happened wrong. Just you want to get as many points on the board. Or think about like this way: you got to love losing, because if you love losing, you'll never lose because it's part of the process. And I think that is the number one thing all these things have in common is people on their own don't recognize how good they are, and so the dance floor theory and the fast forward mindset is a tool to help them unleash. I hate when I start selling like a motivational speaker or whatever, but it's like it is what we do.
You're on a fast forward track
to unlock their potential.
Yes, there you go.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, wait, everyone. This is kind of important, I think.
It's time for some shameless self-promotion.
Excuse us, Dave. We need to take care of...
back up?
Yeah,
Okay.
please. We just need
Do
to
we
take care
get up or you?
No, you're good
Thanks
right
for
there.
coming, but
Hello, everyone out there in TV land, YouTube land, Vimeo land,
interwebs.
interwebs. Melissa and Tom here from Swift Kick. We do professional speaking for a living. And one of the things we want to let you know is that we happen to have mentioned our training, Dance Floor Theory, which is a 7-time national speaking title. What? No big deal. However, within it, we happen to have a shirt that says, "Go on, get your 5 on," related to being in the center of the dance floor. We're going to give
We are.
10 of these shirts away to the first 10 people that email, not Melissa, not me, but Sabina. At swiftkick.hq.com, the first 10 people that email her with their size and the address will get a free shirt sent directly to their...
Wherever you live. In an igloo.
Hopefully it's U.S.-based.
Hopefully.
With that...
Also, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter. Text Team Human to 66866. And then that lovely subscribe button underneath, you should click on that.
That thing.
It's going to give you so much magic.
And follow the other
From
2
us.
million people.
Yes.
The other 2 million people.
Other 2 million, yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for listening.
Appreciate it.
So,
And now back to a regular scheduled programming.
Yes.
Oh, hey.
so I thought you were going to give me the t-shirt.
That's not
It's a great
shameless
t-shirt.
self.
I will email you. I want to get that t-shirt. I'm emailing for the
Our
t-shirt.
first email comes from David.
There's only 9 shirts
9
left.
shirts left, folks.
No, you guys are awesome.
Going like hotcakes.
Well, we have a little challenge for you, a little
Okay.
surprise for you, if we will. We know you're on this fast forward track to becoming a hashtag motivational speaker, and you're in the process right now of producing the fast forward book, and so
Amazing.
It's not getting old.
it's not right there. I'm going to pass it to the equally amazing Sabina, because she has a little surprise for you. So Sabina, take it away.
All right, so we figured we'd help you build this book out. But first, we're going to play a little Mad Libs.
Okay, I like Mad Libs.
So I have my handy-dandy Mad Libs.
Okay,
Look.
so we're going to go rapid fire through this.
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
We'll start with you, adjective.
Funny.
Okay. Melissa, I need a verb.
Running.
Run.
Run.
Book title.
Book title. What was the book you said?
I'd stop worrying and start living.
Stop Worrying, Start Living.
You make me write this.
Carnegie.
Carnegie.
Oh my gosh.
Also, Napoleon Hill from, I always forget that name.
Yeah, Thinking Rich. Great book.
I need an event.
The TEDx.
That's a good one. All right. Adjective.
Lovely.
Great. Feeling.
Sad.
In the
Adjective.
Oh, jeez. I know. Adjective. Big.
That's what all that came up with. Okay. Verb ending in ing.
I'm
I'm going to go with running. Just stay on that theme.
Post-production, we're going to fast forward through all
You
of
guys,
this.
oh, you should, yeah.
Adjective.
She'll get that.
Okay, so I feel less pressure.
Yeah, less pressure, because this will all be...
Perfect.
Which is why we should do funny things in the middle.
I'm like, even if my parents watch all my videos, this might be pushing it. This, we go.
I don't even know who started it. Adjective.
Adjective. Small.
Wow.
I just speed it up.
Verb ending in ing. And I need a noun from you.
Sweating. Not anymore.
George Clooney.
Yeah.
Can it be a proper noun?
Sure. Why
George
not?
Clooney.
So,
Here's a whole chapter for you.
this might sound familiar.
Okay.
It's how to be funny on a no meeting day. 1. Run something new. Read a chapter in a great book such as Stop Worrying, Start Living. Then create a detailed outline that you could share with others or present at TEDx. So far, this is great.
Lovely.
Step 2, get more lovely.
That's every day. I wake up.
I don't know about you, but I get more sad when I am lovely. In our company, there is still a lot of work to do to clean up couch and make them more special and easier to follow. 3, complete exciting tasks. It does not have to be so big. It's true.
Actually,
It could simply be running 5 customers who wrote perfect or small reviews on your product. Or it could be sweating one George Clooney
That's how I track my sweating.
of your website.
Today was a 3 George Clooney workout day.
singing an office you sent out to your list. And those are the 3 ways to be more funny on a no-meeting day.
That is perfection.
I feel like
You are such a good writer. That was great.
I work hard at it.
You
Where
are
did,
so good.
where was that originally from?
Yes, I went to his Forbes articles.
Yeah.
And that was one of your Forbes articles.
What was?
How to be more productive on a no-meeting
Yes. That sounded familiar. You're awesome.
So we rewrote
We
it.
were like, productive.
Yeah, productive. So
Funny is the key.
So-
Okay, folks, time to move on. Wow, the time. The time. Come on in, because it is
Bring it
time
in.
for final thought. This is where we light the candles.
There's no candles.
We pour the
Water.
water.
We have dramatic music.
We have dramatic music. We stare in each other's eyes until one of us cries.
No, thank you.
I feel
Right.
And we reflect on our time together here today. And we'll go around one by one.
I'll go first.
Okay.
He's so sad.
And if you could just, out of everything we talked about, what's one thing? What's one thing that?
Don't worry, I'll be strong for all of us.
What's one thing you're really gonna carry with you as you move forward?
Well, 2 things. Passion and a plan, not the same thing. And also, don't half-ass your ask.
That's 5 times in this episode now.
It's acceptable in that
I
format.
just had to
FAA
do
is
it.
good, come
I
on.
had to do it.
Thank you. How about you, David?
I thought it was.
Did you forget his name?
No, because I thought he was going in order.
Oh.
So I mentally had one more person.
Please.
I was going to cry a little bit longer.
Okay, please. 2 things come to mind for me. 2 things. The idea that the same mental construction that works to being successful in a marathon can apply to other projects in our lives through a thing called the fast forward mindset.
Boy.
And the second thing is that David has acknowledged that he and I share great hair.
For me, honestly, you can use a Mad Lib for anything, and it still works. And I just wish my kids would understand what a Mad Lib was, because they have no clue.
Well, that sounds like a parenting problem.
And but for real, I think, to me, the number one thing that I said before, and I think thank you for the passion and the plan, it's the same thing as fearless and focus. It doesn't matter what theory you use, it's just you want to do as much as you can. So in 20 years from now, you're not looking back and saying, I wish I did more. So just go out there and do. And good luck in your race.
All right, that brings us to the end of our time. We couldn't let you leave without a gift.
No.
Not the shirt.
2 shirts.
We do have something else for you, Sabina. What do we have for our lucky contestant today? Oh, listen.
And you wanted a shirt.
Whoa! Wow, this is the fearless affirmation.
The fearless affirmation.
You guys are impressive.
We do our research.
I am not alone. I will get through it by playing the part. It says, I'm not alone in being not the best public speaker on camera. I will get through it by playing the part as a fearless public speaker. Or as a fearless entrepreneur.
And so what's cool about this is Sabina put this together.
This is
so
awesome.
shout out to Sabina for making
you
this
guys
happen.
really have a lot of care.
Thanks.
Aw.
No, and thought, and when I did interviews, I would just figure it out on the spot. Really,
I made
much
that
better.
10 seconds ago.
And so one of the things that
Other interviews?
yeah,
So you're not working for Joe.
everyone's always trying to take my
Right?
my team from me. I understand. One of the things is that you can use these markers and people can write on here and then erase it. So if like you want it in the office and you pass
This
it
is
around
fantastic.
or something, people can add to it.
All right,
So-
we will talk about sort of licensing this out. You guys would certainly have some sort of percentage. So thank you guys. I really appreciate this. This means a lot.
Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Keep it up. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out our newsletter. Check out swiftkick.hq.com. And bring us to your campus or your office because we're awesome.
Don't you want to hang out?
Of course. With that, thanks everyone. See ya.
Bye.
Amazing.
Oh,
wow.
There you go.